Ron Previte is one of the greatest mafia informants of all time. The U.S. government paid Previte hundreds of thousands of dollars for his work to bring down the mob. He did the worst damage to the Philadelphia crime family as he was able to snitch on 3 consecutive Philly bosses, John Stanfa, Ralph Natale, and Joey Merlino. But Previte's crookedness goes back to his youth, before he started hanging out with mobsters. You see, before Previte joined the mob, one of the jobs he had was as a police officer. He was an intensely corrupt cop, and he would boast about many of the scams he got away with while protecting and serving the public. In this video, I'm going to share with you one of Previte's scams that he's not proud of, and it's something that bothered him for years afterward. It involves Previte's interaction with perhaps the only type of person criminals hate more than cops or snitches. It's a CHOMO, kid toucher, or PDF file, as they currently say. By the way, the story comes from this book about Previte. Alright, so here we go. One afternoon, Previte and his patrol partner were working the area around Philadelphia International Airport. There were a lot of dirt roads and secluded spots that they would routinely patrol. That day, they came across a station wagon parked off to the side. The windows were steamed up. Previte suspected someone was doing the nasty in the car. He was right, but it wasn't the kind of bumping and grinding he was expecting. Previte looked into the car window, and what he saw was a middle-aged man getting busy with a young boy, who Previte later found out was the man's 12-year-old nephew. So Previte grabs the guy, pulls him out of the vehicle, then cracks him a couple of times. He even threw the man up against the police wagon. The middle-aged man began to cry, and he confessed, "I have a problem." Previte says to him, "You had a problem. Now you've got a catastrophe." Previte then talked to the boy, a skinny 12-year-old who said the older man was his uncle who took him out to dinner every Sunday. After dinner, the boy said, they would park on the side of the road and play. Disgusted, Previte slapped the dude around some more and told him he's going to jail. The pervy uncle begged for mercy again. He then offered Previte and his partner $25. Previte said, "$2,500? You're going to jail." "No," the pederast uncle says, "I mean $25,000. That was enough to get Previte to begin negotiating. The molester was an executive at a local production plant. An arrest would end his career. So Previte talked him up to $40,000, which was the final offer. The exec said he had the cash in his office and that Previte could pick it up in the morning. Previte chatted with his partner and figured it was worth the risk. He doubted the CHOMO would report them because then he'd have to explain how he encountered them in the first place. So Previte cut the deal with the executive, but first he took down the names, addresses, and phone numbers of the executive and his 12-year-old nephew. He told the executive he'd be at his company's office in the morning. He also told him that if he screwed him over, that he would haunt him for the rest of his life. The next morning, Previte and his partner, off duty and driving an unmarked car, pulled into the parking lot of the executive's company. Previte took an elevator to the office and was told by his secretary that he was expected. He walked in and was handed a brown paper bag. Luckily, it was not a setup. Nobody from his police department's internal affairs jumped on him after he accepted the bag. While clutching the money bag, Previte told the guy that he was a scumbag piece of shit, then left the office. When he returned to his partner in the unmarked car, Previte looked in the bag. The cash was all there, all $40,000. Previte and his partner drove a little distance, then pulled over at a payphone. Previte got out of the car, placed a quarter in the slot, then dialed one of the numbers he received from the incident. It was the number of the boy's mother, in other words, the executive's sister. Previte says, "You don't know me, but there's something I want to tell you about your brother," and then proceeded to tell her what he saw. When Previte finished, the woman screamed. Previte then smugly hung up the phone. 2 days later, he bought a 1973 Cadillac Coupe de Ville for $7,500. Previte said of the car, "It was beautiful. It was a pink color. They called it Mountain Laurel, one of those special Cadillac colors. It was loaded. I had it detailed, had the Cadillac floor mats, the works. I love that car." Addressing his guilt for somewhat protecting a pedo, he said, "I still feel bad about how I got the money. That's why I made the phone call." This is a wild story. I'm not quite sure what to make of it, other than this world has some effed up people and things in it. What do you think? Would you take money from a CHOMO under those circumstances? As always, thanks for listening.